Hello everyone. My name is Daiichi, and I will give you the lecture regarding the radiation and remediation activities. So, let's start today's lecture. Today's theme is the special decontamination areas and the intensive contamination survey areas. Are you ready? Hello, everyone. What's wrong? Apparently you were discussing so enthusiastically.
Hello, Mr. Daiichi. We are now discussing an order and positions for preparation for the next baseball game.
Okay, good. Please drop by my office Hickory after the discussion finishes. So, how was the discussion? Did you make it?
Yes, fortunately we managed it. But I feel that it is so difficult to determine role sharing. By the way, what would you talk about today?
Yes, I know how you feel it. So, I would like to talk about role sharing in the context of decontamination activities after the accident of the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. With regard to implementation of decontamination, the affected areas are roughly categorized into two areas. That is, the special decontamination areas and the intensive contamination survey areas.
The special decontamination areas and the intensive contamination survey areas. The names sound very complicated. What is the difference between two areas?
Okay, first let's see the exact places of each area. The special decontamination areas are the areas bounded by orange line in the right part of the figure. On the other hand, the intensive contamination survey areas are the colored areas other than the special decontamination areas. That is, part of the municipalities in the Iwate, the Meiji and the Fukushima prefectures other than the special decontamination areas, as well as the Tochigi, the Ibaraki, the Gunma, the Chiba and the Saitama prefectures.
Okay, I understand where the both areas are located. The special decontamination areas are located adjacent to the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, and the intensive contamination survey areas are located farther from the nuclear power plant. But, the intensive contamination survey areas occupy broader areas, and comprise of much more municipalities than the special decontamination areas.
Correct. The special decontamination areas contain 11 municipalities in the Fukushima prefecture. On the other hand, the intensive contamination survey areas contain at maximum 104 municipalities in the 8 prefectures. Of which, however, the designations of 17 municipalities have been lifted, because air dose rate has decreased enough, and currently the number has become 87. By the way, the Minamisoma city, the Kawamata town, the Kochi village, and the Tamura city contain both areas, the special decontamination areas and the intensive contamination survey areas in each municipality.
Okay. I understand it very well. By the way, what are the criteria to designate the special decontamination areas and the intensive contamination survey areas?
That is the very good question. Okay, once again let's look at the map of the special decontamination areas. The areas bounded by an orange line. Don't you think that it is similar to the areas, which you might have seen it before?
Yes, I know. Well, I think I have seen it before. Oh my god, I remember that. I think that it's quite similar to the evacuation areas, which he mentioned the other day.
Correct. You have remembered it very well. It is not identical, but the special decontamination areas nearly cover the evacuation areas at the time, that is, the former restricted zones and deliberate evacuation areas.
Okay, but why do the special decontamination areas cover nearly the same areas with the evacuation areas?
That is also the very good question. It is related with the main practitioner of decontamination in each area. In the special decontamination areas, the national government, especially the Ministry of the Environment, has taken the lead role for decontamination. On the other hand, in the intensive contamination survey areas, each municipality implemented decontamination activities, with financial and technical support of the national government. And in the evacuation areas, the administrative organizations, including municipalities, were forced to temporarily evacuate. Therefore, there were no administrative practitioners in the affected sites. This is one of the reasons. And also taking account of the social responsibility of the national government, which had promoted nuclear power policy, decontamination of the special decontamination areas has been implemented by the national government. And in the intensive contamination survey areas, where the evacuation orders were not declared, each municipality, which knows local circumstances very well, has been mainly responsible for the implementation of decontamination activities.
But what about the Tokyo Electric Power Company? Weren't there any options that the TEPCO would implement the decontamination, which operated the damaged nuclear power plant?
That is the very good question. Definitely, the Tokyo Electric Power Company takes primary responsibility for the accident. However, it needed to allocate their human resources to decommissioning or decontamination of the premises of the damaged nuclear power plant. And another reason might be that very extensive areas were contaminated for one company to decontaminate. So, the Tokyo Electric Power Company takes primary responsibility for the accident. But with regard to the decontamination activities, the Tokyo Electric Power Company, the national government, and each municipality have taken responsibility for within the nuclear power plant, the special decontamination areas, and the intensive contamination survey areas, respectively, and that has underlined the basis of role sharing for the implementation.
Okay. So you explained that the special decontamination areas were designated based on the evacuation areas at the time. So, what about the intensive contamination survey areas? How were their areas determined?
Thank you for the good question again. The intensive contamination survey areas are supposed to be designated if the municipality includes areas with more than 0.23 microsievert per hour of air dose rate, after coordination with stakeholders, including the relevant municipality.
0.23 microsievert per hour. Another new number comes up.
Today I have talked a lot, so the grounds of this number will be touched in another opportunity, and I would like to close today's lecture. So, let me wrap up my lecture by providing you the key points. Today I talked about the special decontamination areas, and the intensive contamination survey areas. First, with regard to the special decontamination areas, the 11 municipalities around the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant have been designated, and they were designated based on the evacuation areas at the time. For the next, with regard to the intensive contamination survey areas, they are located in distant areas compared with the special decontamination areas. Areas with more than 0.23 microsievert per hour of air dose rate were designated, after coordination with relevant municipalities. 104 municipalities were designated at maximum, but as a result of decrease of air dose rate, the number has also decreased to 87, as of March 2021. Main practitioner of decontamination in each area is the national government, especially the Ministry of the Environment, in the special decontamination areas. And in the intensive contamination survey areas, each municipality has implemented decontamination, with support of the national government. Okay, today's lecture is now dismissed. See you next time. In this channel, the useful information regarding the radiation and remediation will be provided to you. If you like it, please subscribe to this channel, and do not forget to click the like button.